is to try to show the percentage of oxygen that's in air. And the reaction that we're doing to help us prove this is the rusting of iron. Now, I don't know if you can see in these measuring cylinders, there's a little bit of wire wool in the top. Now, that wire wool is wet, so over time, over the next week, it's going to be rusting. And you can see that there's a certain amount of air in the tube space with it. So what we're hoping is that over the next week, the iron will rust, it will form iron oxide, so it will use up the oxygen component out of that air, and we're hoping that the water level inside that measuring cylinder will rise up, and we'll be able to take a reading from the starting volume of air that's in there at the moment to the final volume of air that's in there once all the oxygen's been used up, and we should be able to use that to help us calculate the percentage of oxygen in air. So I'm going to photograph each of these measuring cylinders so that you can take the readings today, and then you can take the readings again in a week's time. But I'll also film them again in a week's time so that you can see what they look like, and you can see that the water level should have risen up in all of them. Okay? Okay, so here we are after a week, and you can see, if you look closely at these, that they've really gone quite rusty inside those inside the measuring cylinders there. You can see they look quite nasty, and even in some of them the rust has started to creep a little bit down the insides of the tube. And the other really interesting thing is that the level of the water has definitely changed. It's gone up, which tells us that something has been used up out of the air in there while that iron has been rusting, and we assumed it was the oxygen that was being used up, because as the iron rusts, it makes iron oxide, and uses up the oxygen out of the air. So we're hoping that the water has risen enough to show us exactly how much oxygen out of that original air bubble, or show us exactly how much out of that original air bubble was oxygen. So the water should have risen by that much. So we're going to have a look really closely at what the new values are so that you can try, hopefully, measuring them from the photographs and calculating some averages so that you can work out the percentage of oxygen in air. So we'll have a look at the photographs in a moment.